Welcome to the Temple of Kriya Yoga and the Sunday Noon Meditation. Today, I'm going to talk about that even in challenging times, we can find joy, we can discover delight and contentment in our everyday lives. One important phrase that I'll repeat throughout the talk, but it's so important that I want to say it right at the beginning. One of the benefits of Kriya Yoga is the ability to take one state of consciousness and change it into another state of consciousness. Let me repeat that, and I'm going to repeat it again in the talk. One of the benefits of Kriya Yoga is the ability to take one state of consciousness and change it into another state of consciousness. And then, most importantly, I'm going to be talking about how to intensify the joy in your life, how to intensify your joy, your gratitude, your contentment. And then we'll do a guided meditation to practice that, to practice finding and intensifying joy in your life. But first, we'll start with some chanting. The mantra today that we're going to be doing is Om Ganesha Ganapate Om. Om Ganesha Ganapate Om. And one of the things that I want you to notice on the slide one of the things I want you to notice in this illustration of the mantra is some different images of Ganesh, but I want you to see that there's one with the one that Gary Whitney did in the middle, where Ganesh is just filled with joy. Now, Sri Ganesha is considered the overcomer of obstacles. And we have a number of different obstacles in our lives that have to do with not perceiving the joy and delight in our lives. So that when we're going to, and I'll talk about that in a little bit as well, but this mantra allows us to attune to not just joy, but to realize that we're in partnership with the divine that will help us to overcome the obstacles in our lives. So we're chanting this mantra to attune to that, to ask for overcoming of obstacles, to make our path easier as we move towards yoga, the union with the divine. So let's take a few minutes to chant and then sit silently for a moment or two afterwards to absorb the mantra and allow it to play in our heads a little bit longer. Sri Ganesha, remove the obstacles on our path of joyfulness and contentment. Let us find the wisdom and the ability to take one state of consciousness and change it into another state of consciousness. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Om Tat Sat Om. Let's talk about that. One of the benefits of Kriya Yoga is the ability to take one state of consciousness and change it into another state of consciousness. But really, you can say that Kriya Yoga is the ability. No, it's not the benefit, but Kriya Yoga itself is the ability to take one state of consciousness and change it into another state of consciousness. So usually in Kriya Yoga, we're talking about moving from our everyday conscious awareness to super conscious awareness, or from the everyday mind to the higher mind, or from individual consciousness to God consciousness. But one of the things I like to do is work and play with the everyday life and the everyday mind, because, as we say quite often, your everyday life is your spiritual life. It's not just on Sundays at noon is your spiritual life. It's like your whole everyday life. It's our, well, because I'm talking about joy, I'm going to say it's our playground. It's the garden of God. It's where we live and where we find that sometimes we're peaceful and sometimes we're happy and sometimes we're sad and sometimes we're up and sometimes we're angry, and all these emotions just flow through our day. Some of them at very subtle levels or for such brief periods of time that we don't notice them. But they're there all the time for us to practice peacefulness with, for us to practice joyfulness with, for us to practice softening our karma with. So we have an endless school, an endless playground, an endless and a lot of time to watch what's happening in our everyday life and work with it, so that when we do get to our meditation practice, we're in this place where we've softened out a lot of the bumps along the way, so that we come into our meditation practice more calm, and we're able to then move into that higher state of consciousness through meditation. So those, and I just want to see also those work in harmony, the everyday life work, you could say it's the karma yoga work, and the meditation work. So one improves the other, one softens the other, as we come out of our meditation, hopefully in in a more calm and peaceful state, and we work to take that into our lives, back into our lives, that peacefulness. So we're doing both. It's like as Kriyananda say, rowing the boat with two oars: our everyday life practice and our meditation practice. And what happens if you're only rowing with one oar? Then you're going around in circles, right? Let's talk about meditation practice for a second. So most of the time I look forward to my meditation practice, right? And because I come out more peaceful, as I was saying. But sometimes it seems like it's just another task on my very big list of things to do for the day. And I read something about that Sri Shailaji, Kriyananda's guru, said when he was talking to someone about meditation practice. And he said that he goes towards his meditation practice like a kid going to that he goes towards his meditation practice like a kid on Christmas morning going to open his presents. So what he's doing, as I interpret it, is he's intensifying the joy of meditation before he even gets to the meditation. So the idea of intensifying your joy is, let's start with the opposite. There's a tendency for us as humans to intensify our painful emotions, bad things that happen to us, even years ago, the news that comes at us in that endless stream of media. And then we not only hear the news, but then it's repeated back to us by, through social media and endless stories about the news. And I'm not saying you shouldn't watch the news. What I'm saying is, as humans, we tend to intensify that. We tend to hold it in our minds longer than the happy things that happen to us. And we tend to replay, the thing your boss said to you over again, or the thing that somebody did when you were back in high school, repeating over. So it's just, I don't know why we do that, because we have a lot of good things that happen throughout our lives, but they tend to, that spark of joy, tends to be sort of brief a lot of times. So there's a technique, it's an actual technique called intensifying your joy. And I also want to say that maybe joy is a word that doesn't work for you. It's just a word that I'm using, right? It's joy. It's that upliftment feeling, that it's like, wow. When Kriyananda taught this technique, he was teaching about another way to take one state of consciousness and change it into another state of consciousness. And so I wanted to say that for me, the word joy sparks joy. I just have to say that word, Adinadananda, list. That lifts me up right away, but that doesn't work for everybody. So I want you to think about, as I go through my talk today and we go through the meditation, that it could be a more quiet word like gratitude, or an even more quiet word like contentment, also known in Sanskrit as santosha. That, the feeling, contentment is the feeling of like, it's like everything is okay in the world, but maybe it's a little more quieter than joy, where we saw the Ganesh dancing around. And so some people think of it one way, but any of those words are part of a range of joy. So take what you need from the technique and use the word that works for you as we go through the visualization. But the technique is really simple. You just, you take something you enjoy and you consciously enjoy it a little more. So I think he talked about, because he liked chocolate, he said, you take a bite of chocolate, the really, really good kind of chocolate, and you take that first bite and it's so good that you just say, And so intensify, and for some people, that's, for me, it's a spark of joy. So you take that bite of chocolate and you go, but then you take a little bit longer. You don't have to just, what we do. We take the bite of chocolate and that's and then we eat the rest of the bar of chocolate. And it's good, but it's not that first, but take that first, so good. It doesn't have to be chocolate. It could be an apple. It doesn't have to be food. It could be anything, but just, take that and that goes, that's so good. And then hold it a little longer. So good. The spark of joy. It's seeing a friend you haven't seen in a long time. You just go, oh, so good to see people. Sometimes it's just good to see people. And just take that and just go, oh, that's such a good feeling. And then consciously hold it a little bit longer. You don't have to let that go and just go on with whatever you're doing. You can spend just a little bit longer. You're intensifying. You're stretching out that moment of joy. You're stretching out that moment of gratitude, so thankful for such good things, or contentment. Oh my gosh, it just feels so good to sink into this chair after a day at work. That's such a good feeling. I feel so content. I feel so at peace. I feel so part of everything. Everybody has their own, but the feeling. It's the feeling, as we say in Kriya Yoga, is the current is rising in the spine. But you feel upliftment. And we go through our day and we don't always pay attention to the good stuff. We pay so much more attention to the things that are difficult, the things that are obstacles. Yeah, I do like that word joy. It just, to me, there's an exuberance about it. It's a intensely happy emotion, but it can just be that warm feeling of gratitude. It can be a quiet feeling of contentment. And we're going to do a meditation right now, in a moment, after I talk through it all a bit, that is going to encompass all the different areas of your life so that you can find joy, gratitude, contentment in all the areas of your life. And to do this, we're going to use the astrological houses. Kriya Yoga and astrology are partners in our growth. As many of you know, Adinadananda was a master astrologer as well as a spiritual teacher. And we use the information and insights found through astrology to make wise choices, which again is what Kriya Yoga is about. So I'm going to put up the slide. And this slide has the astrological houses on it. It goes in the circle counterclockwise from the 1st to the 12th. And I'm going to keep it pretty simple. Because houses can mean more than one thing, but it's all the different areas of your life. And if you've ever seen a horoscope, the planets go into signs and houses. So you can have, the sun in Aries in the first house, for example, but we're just using the houses. We're using this as a sort of a meditative structure to go through the different areas of your life. And then afterwards, I'll give you some other information about how to use this too. But let's take a moment to relax. Just take maybe 3 really deep breaths, inhaling deeply and relaxing completely. Allowing your body and mind to quiet down. When we relax our body, it'll help us as we go through the visualization and imagery in this guided meditation. So begin by relaxing your feet and toes. Allow that feeling of relaxation to come up into the ankles and the lower legs. Your knees and upper legs relax. Relax your hips and your torso. Even though you're sitting upright, your back is relaxed and at ease. The muscles support you easily. And then focus on your fingers and hands and feel your fingers and hands relaxing. And allow that feeling of relaxation to come up your arms and into your shoulders so that your shoulders relax. And relax your neck and your face. And allow that feeling of relaxation to come up through your face and down over the back of your head so that your whole body is relaxed and at ease. And we're going to start with going through each house and finding our joy there, or our gratitude, our contentment. So let's start with the physical body. And I want you to think about something of your physical body that gives you joy. I mean, really, the physical body is quite a miracle. Our eyes are seeing, our ears are hearing, our feet are walking us around. Find something, whether it's about your current physical body or maybe a memory, like of running or doing something fun or pleasurable with your physical body. And let's find that joy, that joyous image, that joyous picture that you have in your mind. And I'll be quiet for a moment where you find it and then intensify it, not through any like hard thing, like tensing your muscles. That's not how you intensify things. Just be with it. Be with that feeling. Be with that memory. Be with that picture. Be with that part of your body. And now let's move to the second house. The second house in astrology is money and possessions, our material things. Remember, it's not our money or our material things that are obstacles on the path. It's our attachment to them, but we can still enjoy the heck out of them. So if there's something that you own, that you have, that you love, that sparks joy, as Marie Kondo would say, think of that thing or a gift somebody gave you, or it could be a picture, an image, or even a memory, because the second house is the house of wealth. And along with material things, our memories are also our wealth. So anything that sparks joy in that way. And now let's move to the third house. Some of the houses can mean a number of different things, so I'm going to say a few different things. And keep in mind that if you know astrology and you know some more things that could be part of this house, or any of the houses, just go with that. Go with whatever comes to your mind. But the third house is your siblings, your brothers and sisters. It can be short journeys, like something that you do every day. And it can also be education, early education, like elementary school. So it could be anything, a memory from the past that sparks joy, or something that you're grateful for now with your siblings. It can be anything like that. A walk to the park. Just take some time and enjoy what comes to mind in the third house. Let's move now to the fourth house. The fourth house is mother, and it can also be home and your home environment. So find something that brings you joy in current times or in memory, something that you're grateful for, something that you find contentment in. And let's move to the fifth house. The fifth house is children, it's romance, it's creativity, it's fun and play in general. So find something that comes to mind that allows you to lift your spirit. It could be something, some creative thing you've created. It could be your enjoyment of others' music or art. Sometimes music is very evocative and brings us joyfulness, lifts our spirit, or brings us to a place of peace and contentment. Let's move to the sixth house. The sixth house is your health, your work and coworkers, and also small animals like cats and dogs and squirrels, anything like that. So there might be something within your work in the health, on your health that brings you joy. It could be some gratitude for something a coworker did. It could be just the enjoyment that we get from watching our pets or being with our pets, that we get a lot of quiet contentment from our small animals. And now moving into the seventh house. Seventh house is marriage, but it's also partnerships. It doesn't have to be romantic partnerships. It can be business partnerships. It can be somebody that you work on a project in partnership with. So you want to think about some happiness, some joy, some contentment, some gratitude that you've found in partnership with others. And then let's think about the eighth house. The eighth house is other people's money, and it can be inheritance. And a lot of times in astrology, we talk about other people's money being the bank's money or somebody else's money. But you could think about, if you're looking for joy or gratitude or contentment, times when somebody else has helped you with money or helped you with a financial situation or anything that you've inherited. The eighth house can also be metaphysics, the study of astrology, the study of we say the occult, meaning hidden things, the things that are more hidden from everyday life. So a lot of us find joy in that type of study. But there's lots of things. So again, you can think about a gift somebody gave you. It doesn't have to be money per se, but a gift or something you've inherited from somebody, again, doesn't have to be money, but that brought you joy. And then the ninth house is religion, philosophy, higher education, long journeys. Long journeys are travel. Sometimes it's if we've taken a wonderful vacation at some point in our lives, that it can be just one of those things that can be brought up to mind over and over again to give joy, to give that feeling of gratitude to have been someplace beautiful. So long journeys, it can be things that we've studied in college or a college experience. It can be the study of philosophy and religion. It can be, there's other things that ninth house is, but there's a lot of things to find joy there. And so just take some time, bring something to mind, and then hold it there. Enjoy it a little more. And we're circling around now to the 10th house, which is Father. Sometimes astrologers look at things in different ways, but then you have the 4th house Mother, the 10th house Father, and some people reverse those. It doesn't matter really. It's what comes to mind, joy in Father or career. Career doesn't have to be your paid career. It could be how you see your future, where you're going, but something that brings you joy. So it can be a career success that makes you feel really good, lifts your spirits. It can be something that some memories from your childhood with your father. It can be anything like that. A lot of different places to go to find that joy, upliftment, gratitude, contentment. And now moving on to the 11th house, which is friends. Our friends, clubs we belong to, organizations we belong to, and satsang, which means fellowship. So even the fellowship of being here today across time and space, Kriya fellowship. Yeah, lots to be grateful for with friends. A lot of joy with friends. And now into the 12th house. The 12th house is a lot of different things, but so it's the unconscious mind. In some ways, I think about it as the infinite unconscious mind, but also the infinite of like outer space when you look out into the stars and the galaxies far away. So it's that big space. It's our hidden strengths. So you can think about sometime when you've found a hidden strength. It's also large animals, and this is a little easier sometimes to bring to mind. So like horses, cows, moose, elk, whales, whatever you find joy in, you can find something joyous there. And now come on back. Wiggle your fingers and toes a little bit to get your body just a little more awake. You've been through all the areas of your life, and hopefully you've found a little bit of joy in those areas of your life. And then you can take that, you can take any of those images. You don't have to do like the whole circle meditation, but take one thing, try to find the thing that brings you the most joy and have that as an image to bring to mind when you need a little bit more joy in your life. But it's this type of meditation, this type of using this imagery is a tool to take you from one state of consciousness and change it into another state of consciousness. Just, take that imaginary bite of chocolate and just go, take one of those images that came to mind and just go like, oh, it's so good just to sit here and have that thought about something happy, that something uplifting to bring to mind when you need to change. And I want to make sure that you understand that this is not a way to suppress emotion. I think it's really helpful to acknowledge, I'm really angry about this situation. And then, as we're working with our everyday process, we go like, yes, I am angry. I've done everything I can do to make this situation as good as I can, but I'm still angry. And then you go like, okay, but I'm totally willing. I'm willing to let go of it. And once you're at that point of willingness to let go of it, then you can say, okay, I'm going to sit down or you don't even have to sit down, right? It's all going on in your head. It's like virtual. It's in your head. Nobody else is seeing this. You just say, okay, I'm willing to let go of this. I'm going to turn this anger over to my Ishta Devata, my higher power, my image of God. I'm going to, and I'm willing to transform and think of something else now. So it's at that point when you're ready, when you're willing to let go of it. And sometimes that can happen in a second. It doesn't have to be me, I'm talking out this long process. No, it can happen like in the instant. You go like, oh yeah, I'm angry about this stupid thing, and I want to let go of it. And then you have the capacity with your mind, because you practice meditation of any sort. But sometimes it's easy to just bring an image to mind and go like, oh yeah, that happy time that, I went on the roller coaster at Disneyland 3 times, 3 times in a row. There wasn't anybody in line. You just go like, wow, that was awesome. And then you bring that to mind, and you go, and all of a sudden you're smiling again. It just takes, and then it's gone, because I'm talking about these little everyday things, not like, war and peace. It's like these little things, and they come into your mind in a moment, but then all of a sudden it's 5 minutes later and you're still angry. That's just not helpful. It's not helpful to us. So why not use a tool like this to take one state of consciousness, change it into another state of consciousness? And here's something interesting. You can change your state of consciousness through symbolic correspondence with astrology, or with this pattern of the houses. You can do it with astrology, but in this case, we're doing it with the houses. So when you feel anger or any other unhelpful emotion come up, then you think about, well, what house is this? So, for example, you're unhappy with one of your kids. That's the 5th house, right? So you can either, provided you're not like in that situation at that moment, but anyway, you take a quiet moment, and then you remember a time when this same child brought you joy, or they brought you contentment or gratitude, like gratitude for the time when they were a baby and they were taking a nap and they were sleeping and they were so cute and peaceful. You just go from the situation to a memory, but the memories are powerful like that. And then you get into the joy. But sometimes you can't do that because it's too in the moment. You're too angry about this particular situation. And that's when you use symbolic correspondence, which is you find joy in something else from the fifth house. This is a karma softening technique. You have a fifth house situation over here that's still a little prickly, but you find something else from the fifth house. So you take a moment and visualize a work of art. Monet, water lilies. And or you remember a time when you did something creative. Oh, I did I did a clay ashtray in 6th grade, my mom loved it. You think about something else that you did, and then you hold that feeling, and you stretch it out a little longer. And so you're softening your fifth house karma, but you're not ready to touch that particular situation over there. Go like, find the joy, because for a lot of reasons. But when you're holding the resentments and angers and things like that, they release not good chemicals or not helpful chemicals into your physical body. When you find joy, when you intensify the joy, you're releasing helpful chemicals into your body. So think about, so this symbolic correspondence technique is is much easier to do than some other things in the moment, because eventually you may go sit down, you may meditate longer, you may be able to pull your thoughts together in another way. But this is something you can do just in your mind in the moment that can be very helpful. Another symbolic correspondence thing, again, having to do with people, I guess, but think about the 6th house. The 6th house is like work and coworkers. So you just had a difficulty with a coworker, and you don't want to think about that because that just keeps making you angry all over again. You're willing to let go of the anger, but then you find joy or comfort in another 6th house thing, like petting your cat or your dog, or watching your goldfish, small animals, or just look at your friends' cats on social media, or any type of videos of cats and dogs. That, I'm so grateful for my friends who put positive, fun, beautiful things on my newsfeed. They're just wonderful. My friends, that's 11th house, but the small animals parts is the 6th house. You can do all kinds of things. And then there's a more advanced technique, and you can try this, where you flip back and forth, which is, you're enjoying I'm going like this. You're enjoying petting the cat or the dog, and then when you feel the joy come up in that, then you think back to that other situation, and then you flip back. Then when you feel the negative emotion come up from that, then you go back to, it brings me so much joy to pet my dog. So cute, so precious. And then you go back to the other situation. And what's supposed to happen is that it starts to soften and neutralize, and you start to really let go of what you're holding on to. So depending on it can be more difficult depending on how difficult the difficult situation is, but it can be, you obviously try it and see if that works for you. So finishing up, in conclusion, use your everyday life as your practice environment. Find joy, find gratitude, find contentment, then say, or expand the time of your enjoyment, intensify it. Life is good, and it's filled with many, many moments of goodness. May you be blessed. May you be blessed. May you be triply blessed. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Om Tat Sat Om. Thank you for being with us today. Namaste.